We're doing our usual Monday stream. Um, and for today's topic, I thought it'd be something a little bit, I don't want to say different, but it's because I have mentioned this before, but I guess not in a comedic way. So one of the running themes about me on this website is that after maybe a couple of months, sometimes a few years, you start to notice how your channel's not getting any bigger. And then you'll either do a video that gets more views than what you usually get, and you go, "Oh man, this is so great, cool," and it'll feel like, "Oh, this is like motivating you to continue because it's gotten more attention than your usual stuff." But then you'll start to notice that after getting that little brief surge of attention, it goes right back down, and you're right back to where you started at or where you were previously. Because the status quo of like you being this person who normally can't even get 100 views has to remain intact no matter what. And of course, you'll have, because that's why we're doing the romance comic book video where we talk about how the status quo in comics is the act of something that stays the same with tiny variations. So, like, Batman's identity always stays hidden to most people, but then there are stories where sometimes it gets revealed, and then at the end of it, it's reversed somehow. Um, that's pretty much what it is when you have like those really brief surges in views. Like I remember last year, I did a video about Bill Maher, and it was just me sitting on like the way I usually do stuff, just me sitting in front of my camera talking about this news story, and it gets over 1,000 views. I'm like, oh my god, what is this? But I knew, and sure enough, this happened after that video performed ridiculously well. For my standards, it went right back down to how it was before, and it's really funny because due to how much of like the Twilight Zone is just prevalent everywhere, you've actually had people get mad at me for complaining about like a lack of views or subs or something. And I'm like, I don't know anybody that makes content on this website that makes it public because there are some people that upload unlisted stuff as like storage purposes. I don't know anyone who takes the time to make content on here who doesn't want more views. Like I've never seen someone complain, "Oh man, it's got too many views." Out of all the people I've ever watched. So it's really it's always been comedic that that's like a thing you're supposed to feel bad for wanting. But I tell you that sometimes when you don't get attention for your stuff, you do start to question, what about it is worth it. Like one of the reasons I kind of don't feel bad about not doing one of the, let's say, just for example, DVD mobile videos for a few weeks is because I saw what I call diminishing returns, which is that every time you would do a new one, you would get, 10 less views, 20 less views. And now the first one still didn't have 100. So that's why I never feel bad about having some edited video that I'm supposed to do or that I want to do, and then maybe not doing it for a week or two or three because it's, people aren't going to watch it anyway in mass. Um, so that's always been the guiding point. But even with stuff like that, it's just being expected to edit something for people to barely watch it, I think is really crazy. Like I remember back when I was doing Dragon Ball videos, uh, the edited kind regularly last year. It was like when I went to pull my hair out because people used to sell this false hope that, oh, if you just try and if you just put effort in your videos, like I got a script, I've got pictures, editing, all the rest of that, and you're still getting the same. Hell, I could get more views on streams because on a lot of streams I'll max at like 100 something. It was just so nuts to me. Like you were sitting there like a literal hamster on a wheel, extolling all this effort for so little. And really the only type of videos that I can make and like work on for weeks or months and not feel the same disillusion with is my show because I already accepted that, you know, people don't appreciate when you work on something anyway. But it's just when you are attempting to convey something and people say, oh yeah, make this. I had one guy last year tell me to make a review of the moral arc because that would be like one video where he said he liked because of it being in depth and kind of like mirroring his thoughts. And I said, that's cool, but I'm not going to sit here like doing a video like that where you get, it's like, was it 20 something chapters, the moral arc, and you have the screenshots, you have different panels, you got a little retelling of what happened during it, and then you give your opinion on why this chapter was good or bad. how it ties into the overall story. That's a video that could be an hour or 2 hours because I could make it, be part one, part two. But the amount of work for something like that, for not even the guarantee of at least 100 people watching it, and possibly getting harassed by Toei because they like to mess with people that put up panels. I just said it wasn't worth it. Like you said, you can't make someone like you. You can't make someone like you. You can't make someone watch you. No, people don't want to accept that. They always blame the content creator for why people don't watch. I still can't get over that stream I did with Jimmy's name in the time. Like the only reason that got more views than anything else is because this man's name is in the title, and I responded to some allegations that were hurled toward him before he did. I always thought that was funny. It's like, oh yeah, put more effort in your stuff. It's like there was no more effort. There was just me putting a bigger person's name in the title, and then his supporters liking that I defended him, and then a bunch of them subbed to me and then never watched me again. I got 100 subs off of that stream, and I saw maybe like two or three of them after that day, and then most of them, never comment anyway. That's always like I thought it was so sad that I remember when I was like younger, I used to really get excited about having more subscribers. And now every time I see like plus one or it's like, oh, let me just roll my eyes. It's either going to be somebody trolling me, or it's someone who doesn't even watch my stuff more often than not anyway, or someone that just doesn't watch altogether. So it's like it's almost always bad to get more subs because it's just this overinflated number, of people that don't actually watch you. Let me see here. That's why I don't understand why people go so hard on content creators they don't like. Yeah, I don't even know. It's like because I guess a lot of times if I go after, let's say, a political commentator, some of those are on TV, some of those get like paid, and maybe they don't have the biggest audience ever, but they still have like there's like a specific motive to do this. When you barely get any support, and then you're like being attacked as well. I mean, like I always think about the romance stuff. You have like a lot of views in like the older type videos, but with the newer stuff, you don't get as many views, and then you still have like the creepy guys that come out of the woodworks, like the one on Saturday with the window into your soul thing, or the one that tried to steal my stuff and pretend to be me. It starts to become more of a hassle than it's worth. People love attacking content creators. I'm actually kind of surprised by how much people will punch down too. There's a guy that has there's a guy that has 5,000 subscribers, which I'm not calling like small, but in the grand scheme of YouTube, that's not really that much. And he did a video about somebody else, this other guy with 25,000 subs. The video got less than I think it got around 1,000 views. But it's important to remember or to know that he didn't put the guy's name in the video. He was talking about multiple people, and somehow people came to the small person's channel who doesn't bring up the guy's name in the title, and like mentioned it to the much bigger one, and he did a response video to it. And I'm like, I can't imagine. Let's say I had 20,000 subs, right? Surfing the net for videos where where like I briefly get mentioned, like if someone has my name in the title, whatever, but a video where I'm mentioned among several other people, like is enough for me to make a whole separate video responding to it and saying, "Oh, I saw this clip." It's like, right? Because it's funny because this guy like prides himself on staying away from drama, but then he's like feels compelled to respond to a video that has less than 2,000 views on a channel that never actually made a video with his name and whatever. So I just thought that was funny, like how much smaller the other guy is, and he's like, someone made a video where they mentioned me, so I need to say something. because it's comedic because he tries to act like he's this super busy person that doesn't have time for, like the peons on here or anything like that. So that's why it was comedic. Like just him pretending to be like he's this really big famous person that's so busy, and also how much like smaller the other person is compared to him, to where a video doesn't even have his name in the title, where he's mentioned maybe like two times is enough to get him to make a video response. I don't spend any time hate posting in his comments and trying to give him condescending advice never asked for. That's just unproductive and uh, unhealthy. I mean, there are plenty of people I don't like on this website, but I don't do to them what's done to me. I don't go to their channel talking about you're ugly or you're gonna do this or any of that. It's just that's why I said all that nasty, unproductive rhetoric is entirely people that are not me saying that to me. And good luck finding a political commentator that doesn't scream. I've seen videos where Kyle was screaming. I know Jenk from TYT was screaming. There's a whole bunch of it's very hard to find someone that cares about this stuff that is not yelling. Oh, I've seen what's his name, Mark Levin from Fox News, the one with the beard. I've seen him scream as well. One reason I don't yell is because I always have somebody at the house with me. Unfortunately, I've done a few streams where I was home alone and I was shouting or talking louder than usual. Here comes Dio with his 11th hour Ranger vest. Yeah, subs are they're a thing that are only good once, like if you hit certain milestones, like if you get 1,000 subs, you can get monetized, and then or you're eligible for it. And then if you get what is it, like 80,000, 100,000, you get a plaque from YouTube, and you can email them and contact them directly. But outside of that, they really from what I've seen of most channels I watch, they're just there to inflate your numbers. Like Kyle from Secular Talk has 900,000 subs, and I can't remember the last video he did that wasn't drama that cracked maybe 300,000. Same thing with PewDiePie. He has how many millions of subs? It's not even like 10% that actually watch him. It's just a thing that inflates your numbers. Usually, if you have somebody that like most subs watch, it's if they make a specific type of video. So, like with Team Four Star, every time they would put up a new episode of a bridge, they would get views that either totaled or more than their subs, which is like really great and good or whatever. But if they made a video like unabridged or their podcast, they usually can't even get 500,000 views on a, what is it, 4 million sub channel. So that's why I said even people who seem like they're successful and well liked by their audience, they still have like a selective thing that they only come for. Yeah, but you don't do that all the time. I think all the times when you elevated your voice, it was justified. For example, when that clown posted that stupid comment, or when the other dude was threatening to beat you up. Yeah, I don't understand like how people expect you to just put up with stuff on this website and then not get upset over it. Like imagine you're doing a stream and somebody you for as far as you're aware you've never spoken to before, never seen them before. The first comment they write on your stream is calling you a racial slur, threatening you with bodily harm, calling you part of some romance group you've never affiliated with. I don't see how anyone wouldn't get upset or say what the hell is this? But that's why I said people think that content creators are their slaves, that they can talk to them any kind of way they want. And that's why they start crying about, oh, I'm censored when, because they think they can just say whatever they want to you with no consequence. I don't even yell that loud anyway. That's an exaggeration. I was just saying there are a few instances where it was me alone, so I was able to speak in whatever tone I'd like. It's okay. My Thanos snap is hot and ready. Yeah, I'm just I don't know. They're a big reason why a lot of times I don't even look forward to streams because I know no matter how many people show up that act like they have half a brain, we're gonna have some person we've never seen before come and start writing weird stuff. So that's always what I'm cautious about because with that guy, the early warning signs were the fact that he was writing stuff that was like really confusing, and then he was refusing to explain what it meant. So it was like typing riddles, and then he started saying eventually good women are the right woman will show up. I was like, get out of here. So these people are clones. They all repeat the same stuff. It's crazy too, because it's like they repeat. Like I make a video about separate phrases and things that they like to say to give you the false hope to keep bothering with this trash. But that's why it's scary that they actually believe they're writing something either new or original or never heard of before. It's like, does this guy really think I haven't had someone come to me and say, "Oh, your soulmate, the right one, the what do you call it? Any of the other little phrases they use will show up at some indefinite time. Just keep trying, just keep waiting." It's like, are you out of your mind? Man, people have been repeating that line ad nauseum for as long as I can remember. Like anytime somebody tells you with regard to like romance, oh, you'll find someone. Oh, someone will appreciate you for who you are. That's literally the same thing as what he said. It's the same stupid line of like, oh, eventually someone will not treat you like garbage and actually like you back. Just have to wait multiple years because remember, all the chicks aren't all the same. That's why you have to wait years for something as small as a date. Oh, who's this person? How many have you come upon today? That's not even a thing that usually happens. It's just like most of them, from what I've seen, you'll have some conversation with. It's not like I wouldn't call it extreme leading on, but stuff like, "Oh yeah, I'll marry you," and then you renege, or "Oh yeah, I'll go on a date with you." "Oh, I thought I was interested, but I wasn't. I just got really confused." That's the Decepticon stuff. So maybe like this year, probably 4 or 5 of them. I'd say the worst offenders were the two from like the start of the year that acted that tried to not bring up having a boyfriend because they know that that's like I don't why would I want to talk to a woman who's with another man. And then the one in May that like agreed that asked me on a date and then reneged, and then the one from the like the end of September that said all that explicit crap just for it to go nowhere. I'd say those are the three big examples of Decepticons this year. They need to go back to Cybertron because they're not doing anything productive on Earth other than wasting men's time. We're tired of their deceit and their lies. Only difference is we're so used to it, no longer takes us by surprise. I did what is this? I did woke up late and managed to still give out candy. It's all empty platitudes. Yeah, like I said, the woman stuff is the only topic I've ever seen where people think you're supposed to have this like really extreme endurance for a group of people that don't care about you or for something that like has not changed year after year. Like I gave the examples in what video was that? I think it was called The Childless Problem or something like that. But it was in the video I talked about how if you were a rapper and you were making like songs and giving it to different record studios, and after 5, 6, 7 years, you never got signed anywhere, nowhere ever actually played your stuff. People would say to go do something else. If you were a what's another example? But I know that was one of the examples I gave. It's just if you do something for an extended period of time and you see no change whatsoever, people will come out and say, listen, I know you want to do this, but you're not getting anywhere with it. People are wasting your time and you're having your own, and you shouldn't allow that to happen to you for this long. So go do something else. Nobody would say, oh, just keep trying, just keep holding out for the right label. Someday, eventually, at an indefinite time, someone will appreciate your tunes. Would you like to go on a date or be in a relationship with me? I don't know, but I still want to speak to you. Oh yeah, that was the purpose behind the thing that reneged after agreeing to marry me. Like that the Discord snake, I had to give him credit. He pointed out, he said, "You really think she wants to actually do anything with you if she said no to that?" And I was like, "Then what was the point of speaking to me for 3 months?" Oh, she wants to get out of you what she wants without giving you what you want. Remember, they care so much about you. Totally worth doing all this stuff for. I saw an ad where there's a lady. I've been seeing her face on this site for like 5 years. She's one of those like romance people. I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to give her any free advertising. But there's a woman who like I guess gives men advice, and she was like, "Look at how hot that girl is. I bet you believe that she's too attractive for you, or you don't have enough money." And I'm like, I like how they always make it like when you don't want to bother with them, it's always because you think something is off with you or you're not good enough. Or so it's like, well, that's their opinion because they have inflated egos. But like I said, you would never see it. Like if a woman thought some man was attractive or whatever, she's like, "Oh man, I would ask him on a date, but he probably has more money than me." That stuff is never even a factor. If you're like, that's why I said like chicks have it so easy because they don't have 900 different litmus tests that they have to fulfill just like for a man to go on a date with them. Like there are so many chicks I don't think are attractive that get dates. It's really hilarious. I thought a couple of those Halloween made me happy this year because they usually shut it down at like 6 o'clock. I remember growing up, I used to go trick or treating until 11. Theo says women benefit men less and less every day. Well, again, the only reason they're being discussed in this way is because I have a magnitude of comments of different men going, "What can you give, provide for a woman? What can you do for a woman?" And no one ever asks, "What can she do for you?" Because remember, everything is based around her happiness. Because you're her slave. You're supposed to do whatever. You're supposed to change your whole life to appeal to her and perform a series of extraneous tasks for her to maybe like you back. And then if she doesn't like you back, you still get blamed for it no matter what. Oh my god, it really is no benefit to doing any of that stuff. I went with 4 other friends. We weighed our candy weighted the candy and it totaled like 60 pounds altogether. Hmm. Yeah, I skipped out on what I was going to eat before so I could hurry up and do the stream. Things just really went backwards today. I was supposed to do this like start maybe like an hour ago, but I couldn't. So it's always something that ruins what we're trying to do every time. Uh, that's why I don't watch any romance content online. They project so much of their insecurities onto others. So Akatsuki Merchant just admitted he doesn't even watch my videos. I'm so disappointed. It's bad enough I already had one of my subs right on another person's channel. I'm waiting for him to retire. So it all is lining up. Did I already click this? People send you so many links, you don't even know which one it is. Like this looks familiar, but I'm not sure. Okay, Megumi says you apparently don't love yourself when you're the one who voluntarily cut off speaking to chicks who don't reciprocate or want to play the friend zone nonsense. Yeah, every single one of those chicks except for the one that asked me on a date, it was me that stopped speaking to them. Like the last message between me and either of the like I blocked one of those two from January and I just stopped responding to the other one after she like almost right after she mentioned having a boyfriend. And then what was the other one from oh the one from the end of September that had the explicit call. Blocked her. Like I stopped speaking to her. I unfriended her. You know, it's like I don't know why people think you have no confidence, but you're the one that is actively walking away from chicks that waste your time because you don't want to be their slave. That totally is indicative of a person who doesn't love themselves. And then he was writing some weird trash about, can you say on your stream that you love yourself? It's like, why do I have to scream that for a man who's never met me to be convinced of that? I don't really understand like what that will accomplish. Like, so everyone that loves themselves has to scream on a stream to prove it to this crazy random guy. They'll act like this special person with unforeseen knowledge, even though I've never heard of them. Okay, talking about content where they try to tell you how to get. Yeah, yeah. I already told you that's a lie. And modern women's happiness is irrelevant because they monkey branch use different men to fulfill special needs. That's why we made that comparison where we said that if a woman talks to multiple men, she's like just trying to get attention and is using them to, to like waste their time or whatever because she likes all the attention she's getting. If a man talks to multiple women, he's trying to like hedge his bet on which one might like him the most or might reciprocate first. Like one talks to multiple of the other because they're very desperate, and the other one talks to multiple of the other because they're very like well, I guess they're desperate too, but for attention. Like the guy is talking to all these different chicks so he can like increase the chances of maybe getting a date, and even then, it still might not go the way he wants with any of them. And then the other one is like just talking to a bunch of men just for fun, like just to get attention and make you think she's interested when she's got another 5 or 6 guys lined up. I tell you, that's like there's a trope on TV tropes called nightmare fuel. That's a really scary thing to think about when it comes to chicks because most of them will never tell you how many men they're talking to outside of yourself. So every time you speak to one, there's like the illusion that you're maybe one or two or maybe three of the people that is actively pursuing her, but she'll never reveal, most of them anyway, that it's another 5 guys on Instagram, another 20 guys on Reddit, another 6 on Twitter. Just they never mention that type of stuff because it's not incentivizing to you to know that you have so much competition for something that is so little as this one broad. That's really scary to think about that. Like now, whenever I speak to him, I'm just like, wonder how many men she has that she's talking to. Like, imagine getting up every day and turn on your camera to chastise and antagonize strangers whose lives you have no part of. Oh, they act okay. This doesn't sound like someone who's living a happy, fulfilled life. My favorite part is when he's trying to be a psychiatrist. Interesting. I told you that the way you know they're trolls, like they never leave. Like you ask them to leave, they stay. Like you really have to block them to just make them go away. Like if you don't want to have these back and forths, they will argue with you all day long. Like imagine spending 2 hours writing paragraphs on a channel of someone you don't like. Couldn't be me. A lot of times, the only time I write something really big is if I'm going to screenshot it and use it for a video. Like when I wrote that not letter, that email to that broad that I blocked, and then was like, "Hey, if you still want to talk, I'm up for it, but act like a decent human being." It's like I know she's probably not going to respond, but when we do our video on her, we can go click, and then we put that in the video. Don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Like you get to ignore me over and over, but then if you get blocked and called a name once, oh my god, how could he do this? It couldn't be me either. I value my time. I swear, I don't understand the point of that at all. And like the ones who write the one weird comment or whatever, but it's like, look at Tony. Like that guy wrote a whole essay about me on my video. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait until Saturday to talk about how stupid this was. And then he shows up on my stream writing some more weird stuff at the start, and then like seems to temper himself, but he still is watching someone he said he didn't like just not even 3 days ago. And then shows up on my channel for like another 5 months, and then changes his name to start trolling again to make us think we wouldn't recognize him. Trevor. If I see that bastard one more time, I'm making a video on him, and it's gonna be called "The Man Who Obsessed Over Justin for Half a Year." It makes no damn sense. Someone says they're gonna stop watching you in March, and here they are all the way up until September. So if I see one more comment from that little puke green picture of his, that's gonna be the end of it. You can't keep insulting someone and not expect them to retaliate or get some consequences. Well, that's why I said people online want to be able to say whatever they want to you, but they also want to control how you respond to them. Like I've had multiple chicks, "Oh, not dating you is a right I have." Like I agree. And then, you do it because I don't ever send any of them my stuff I make. I mentioned that before. They always, if any of them know about it, it's because they watched me or found it or whatever. And I'm like, look, if you can say no to me, I can make a video talking about the situation with you anonymously. Like nobody knows who they are, so I never really saw an issue with it. But you get what I'm saying, that they want to be able to turn you down and then also control how you respond to being turned down. Hey, what was that thing we said, Brandon, about it's always someone you've never seen before writing that stuff? Every stream. Well, why does my education matter, Llama? What are you going to offer me a degree or a job? How is this relevant to what was being discussed? I'd love to know. I swear, man, you read some of the comments that get posted in the chat, it really is like a dating service. They're like, do you watch this? Do you wear this? Do you take long walks on the beach? What's your shoe size? How tall are you? What's your blood type? Oh, let me see what he wrote. Uh, Maybe I can hook you up if you need. Hook me up with what? No thanks, not necessary. I don't even know what he's like saying. You really would think we have like a quota. There's always that one person that starts writing some stuff where it's like really confusing and then it turns antagonistic. We always got to at least have one person like this on every street. Yeah, it's mandated because the other one from Saturday started with me defending James after that clown made a video like calling him a loser or some trash, and I was like, "Who are you talking about?" And then he wouldn't respond. I was like, "All right." You were able to respond when you were writing all that nonsense a few what was it, a week ago about oh the mall has been dead since 2014 and you can get a woman by smoking. It's like, you know, go away. So it was two of them on that other one. It was one at the start and then one at the like halfway point. Asking irrelevant questions and trying to divert the topic being discussed. They love doing that. That's like their fetish. They can never just join what is being talked about. They have to bring up something else. I'll tell you, a lot of people act like a stream is like automatically Q&A time. Like you could talk to people about, let's say, some video games, which is that did happen during the World Without Heroes 2 stream. We are talking about just like different pop culture stuff. And all of a sudden you start getting asked like romantic questions and do you identify as this? Do you like that? It's just there's a time and place for everything. And sometimes that stuff doesn't have to be mentioned or brought up. Imagine people did that in real life. Like you're sitting there talking to somebody about the news, and they're like, "So, when's the last time you were with a woman?" It's like, what? When's the last time they didn't lie? That should be the true question. When's the last time they did what they said they would do? There are just so many like bad encounters with them. Like just I can always mention off the top of my head, but like the truly awful stuff of like them like get what I'm talking about, where they get you to really believe or to try to believe in them and then they just backflip. A lot of it did happen this year. Because I would still say that like of the two worst things prior to this year, and I guess arguably still two worst things, depending on how much I am irritated by them, was the broad that agreed to marry me, and then the one broad that asked me all those personal questions and then was like, "Oh, I can't wait for you to hear my voice." And then a few days later is like, "Oh, I don't think this will work out. Goodbye forever." So I'd say those are like the top five worst. Like those two, and then the one that asked me to date and then reneged and then turned into the biggest liar on planet Earth, and the one that had that stupid call with me. Uh, like those four, and then somebody else probably. I'd have to think about it. We're gonna do like a top 10 worst encounters with women video. It's like I remember when this happened. I just think a lot of this stuff is really slimy, and I do believe that if I did this to like did half of this stuff to women, I would be at least criticized or possibly condemned. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? You agreed to marry somebody, and then a couple of days later, you're like, sometimes I feel like it, sometimes I don't. Nah, that's real douchebag stuff there. A ranking video on like the worst encounters with chicks. People online ask the weirdest questions like, "Shut up, dude. No one cares about your internet buzz terms." Are you an NEE? Like, that's how you knew that's a weird term because nobody recognized it. Like, we're like, what? Like, at least if I say plot armor, that's a term that is like well known as like being on. Like, you can look that up and instantly know what it is because it's on like TV tropes and those other websites that have like different, I guess, cliches and stories. Some are good, some are bad. His buzz terms. Man, what happened to James? He just vanished. He was in here telling people to have a good day, and then he just went away. Uh, okay, let me read what Megumi wrote. Same. I was confused by the term as well. Never heard or seen it. Yeah, nobody. That's why I said it was riddles. Like, I looked it up on Google and I still couldn't find what it was. I thought it was something he created. No, that chick stuff just always proves itself to be a bigger like waste of time than a gain. Like, I remember I had a broad not even last month who was talking about how, oh, it's so amazing speaking to you and I really like you. And by the way, if you don't believe me, I've got screenshots of that as well. And then all of a sudden, after having what she claims are two very enjoyable calls with me, uh, she stops like responding that much, and then she says, "Oh, I'm distant. I have a lot of things going on." Which again, whatever. But if this person, which they haven't done yet, but hypothetically, stops speaking to me, never speaks to me again, you know who's going to get blamed for it. You should have reached out more. You should have said this. It's like the woman says she was busy. So whatever. But again, it's just an example of how if you try to be understanding of them, it's bad. If you demand something from them, it's bad. So either way, you just can't win. I didn't demand anything. I just said, hey, whatever. Like, again, I'm not so obsessed with any chick anymore to where if they don't speak to me for days or weeks, I'm just like losing my mind because that's just what they do. Like, they're all the same. Oh, excuse me. All the current ones are the same, not the ones in the past that didn't have men on websites talking about how hard it was to get one of them to go on the date. Yeah, I was wondering what happened to James. I thought he gave up after reading those comments. He was like, "Man, this is stupid. I'm out of here." I just looked up that, and apparently it's an acronym for not in education, employment, or training. But it's like, what relevance does this have to do with the topic we're discussing here? Like, I don't understand. No, they're all the same. Imagine we actually make like a romance reality show where like every week I'm like, all right, let's talk about these new 5 chicks I'm speaking to, and then I go and show the messages with, and then one of them does like, I just want imagine like we record all the calls with them, and then when they're like, I just want to be friends, we play like some noise like, congratulations, you've been the 165th woman to say the exact same thing as all the ones since 2011. I'm really imagining like a romance reality show where like every week there's a 22-minute episode or like an hour episode. Imagine just how insane that would be. Like, just every week, there's like 4 or 5 or 6 different chicks I'm speaking to. Like, oh yeah, so how are you? And then as I'm talking to them on, let's say like Piscord, for example, I got my phone recording the conversation. And I just got this like grin, knowing that everything they say will be like aired live or posted unedited or uncut or yeah, I don't know. I'm done responding to these guys. Oh, there's Austin. I remember he was trying to get me to keep a troll around for some reason. I like it when people antagonize you. It's real fun for me. Why women say that they hate men is they can only think in generalization. Yeah, well, see, that's my point. Like, I've seen so many chicks say men this, men that. And nobody calls them sexist or says they're part of some celibate team or they're never gonna have a man like them back or any other trash. So it's why I said it's just double standards. Now I saw what you wrote. I can really imagine that because I've come to the realization it is because what these women do, even to guys they claim they like or feel a connection with. Well, all I'm saying is when you have one who sits there and acts like she really likes you, you can't even take that as being serious anymore because you've had so many in the past who said the exact same thing. And then they start doing the 360, where even if this person, for example, still maintains that they enjoyed speaking to me, which they said in their message, you see how you're still like barely getting any response out of them. And it's like you're being told by this person it's not your fault, but you're still going to be blamed anyway if it doesn't go anywhere because that's the nature of this stuff as it relates to men. You're always the person that gets hung for every screwed up or bad thing that happens with a woman, even if you had nothing to do with it. They claim to like or feel a connection with. Dude, imagine having somebody talk explicitly to you for 4 hours and then like a few days later, you're so weird. We talked once and you act like we have to speak all the time, even though you asking me to schedule a call literally means that you know that we're not going to speak all the time, which is why you're asking for a specific time in which we can speak after a certain number of days. I really could picture that. That's because women are allowed to have legitimate grievances with the opposite sex. Yeah, but if you have any, you're sexist, and we're gonna call you names that are part that don't even address what you're saying, and we're gonna actually in some cases put words in your mouth. We're gonna accuse you of things. Anything they can do to like make you the antagonist, they will. Imagine like really imagine a romance reality show. Like every episode, I just get in front of the camera. On today's episode, we're talking to 5 different women, and then it's like this one's from this country, that one's from that country, that one's from this country, and then it's like uh, it would be so insane if we actually like if one of them's like, oh yeah, let's go on a date, and then I actually like fly over there, and I got the video of me at the airport. So I can't wait for this person to renege, and after I spent how much to get over here, I'm not allowed to complain about it because then you would seem entitled. Like imagine having like a whole camera crew that just like monitors all this stuff. I remember me and my best friend had this joke. We were gonna have to like get on a boat and just travel around the world in 80 days to every different country, just like on the premise of getting a date. And then I had a joke that like we were gonna find out that all the chicks on Earth like do this, so then we have to go and start talking to like chicks on Mars and Neptune. We're gonna have like space adventures for a date. Hey, this is like a horny ghetto version of Star Trek. Beat me up. Oh my god, I really can just imagine somebody actually making that where they have like the little stat sheet with all the different chicks and their age and like when we first started speaking to them, how long has this correspondence been going on? Damn. romance reality show. Get in front of the camera, introduce yourself, and then the little stat sheet with all the information on it. And then like the whole like episode is composed of like because it's 20 or 30 minutes. So like 4 or 5 minute segments on each chick. It's like this week, she said this. Here's some snippets from our conversation you can hear. And then we play the little clips of her saying, "Oh, I like you so much," blah 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 blah. And then after one of them is like, "I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm not interested," or like stops responding, we unfriend her and then go get like another two. Dude, this really is like the backwards version of The Bachelor. Remember, it's like a woman who picks between like different men. It's like it's a man trying to be picked by so many, like a man who's trying to be picked by one woman, but because like so many of them are like just identical to each other, he has to talk to like a whole basketball team worth of chicks just to maybe get a date. And then even at the end, like at the season finale, all of them have now said no, and you got to get another batch. You got to get another wave. I don't take them seriously at all. No matter what they say to you, they will do this. This guy was like, "Oh, that's why I did the strings title. You're too negative." I'm like, "Well, I wouldn't be if they didn't do this." Like, you think I would have made a video saying, "Oh, don't believe a woman if she agrees to marry you," if one of them didn't do that already? Like, they did this stupid stuff. I had never had a single broad. I swear, like on the basis of everything I remember about my past with these people, I never had a single one ask me out before this year. And you would think if somebody asks you out and you say yes, you're gonna get a date, right? Nope. You're gonna get lies and 100 litmus tests you have to. Oh, I want you to meet my parents for a date with someone who, after the date, can be like, "Well, I don't think this will work out." Let me see what else has been written. Actions speak louder than words. So they got to prove their words. No, they don't. They have plot armor, so they get to say whatever they want to you, and there's like there's no issue there. They can tell however many lies they want with no consequence. A romance reality show. I feel like someone has made that. I don't know why. I'm just imagining that someone has gotten like so maybe not for the same purposes, but the idea of like a man talking to multiple women and then just having like status updates on all three, four, five, six of them. I could really see somebody doing. Oh my god. You could really talk to 30 of them and still like no one is in like however many will have a boyfriend, however many will say just want to be friends, however many like it you I never used to believe that, but now I fully do. Not worth going through the insane amounts of tests or hoops provided to getting a date on the chance, or maybe that chick will consider giving you what you want. You never get what you want. You just get lies and BS. Oh, and blame for everything. I swear, I so want to draw that picture of me just hanging on the cross with the crown of thorns. That sounds like no, that ain't no reality show. That was a cartoon. Nice try. Remember, some act like they have had a breast cancer diagnosis when they've been asked out on a date. Oh, they won't remember we already proved they won't even do a phone call. Brandon's comment got hidden. He's lucky I have mods here because I wouldn't unhide it. So somebody else will have to unhide that for me. Or for him rather. Because I was gonna live with the mystery. I still remember what he said about me. I don't know what the purpose of talking to them is. And then a lot of them, even the ones that you, I guess you're on good terms with, they don't even say anything. Like a lot of, you'll be amazed by how many of them you just have to keep initiating a dialogue with. Like they act like you don't even exist other than that. And some of them really do seem bipolar, but we've already been over that as well. I remember I was in this one Discord server, and I was sitting in the VC, and one of the mods came in there, and one of the guys there asked to speak to her husband or something, like as a joke, and she mentioned having one or like kids or whatever, and then I like got out of that call, and he was like, "Oh, why'd you leave already?" It's like if I don't like talking to regular chicks, why would I want to talk to one that's married? Like what what incentive would I have for that? You know, like it's like nope, I got away from that trash. I don't know. I guess maybe if I was someone who didn't have this happen to him, I wouldn't care. But it's like, go talk to your husband. That's always like a running gag that if someone has what you wanted, but you don't, but they have it and you don't get it or whatever, like it's always like throw that back in their face in some like subtle diss. Just like with the chicks with boyfriends, like go talk to these amazing men, right? That were so much better than everybody else. Go talk to one of them. Go talk to these gods among men. Hey, remember the Superman Batman crossover World's Finest? I need to go speak to them. Person asked me if I'm streaming on Twitch. I will never use Twitch ever. That website's never gonna have me on. If I'm on there, I'm as a viewer. Like the thing about Twitch and Twitter is that to me they're only really useful if you already have some like enormous following. Like I've never seen someone get big on Twitter and then they come on another website and then people are actually like interested in them over there too. It's usually they do something on here and then they go to the other sites as well. That's like something I'm sure a lot of guys have had to put up with, especially if you constantly see it in public, seeing couples around your age and stuff. Yeah. I remember you're told, I guess that's why the age thing just pisses me off so much because these pricks act like, we haven't seen guys that were 13, 14, 15 have a girlfriend. So why is it that they're allowed to have that? Someone that likes them back enough to go on a date, whatever. Maybe it doesn't last, but it was still like the ability to date someone. But then you have to wait some extraneous amount of time for something that I just don't see why age has to factor into that. And it's like you don't think there's something wrong with that. That something as minor as going on a date, you require years of waiting. Like it's this uh how to explain it? It's so insane to me that they don't understand how screwed up their hypothesis is. Oh yeah, just wait. It's like, but other people that were the same age had relationships. So why do I specifically have to wait? Oh, I know why the romance curse. Except the difference is the romance curse actually it's not a thing that you wait for. Just it happens forever. That's always the contradiction that none of them ever are able to address. If oh, you know what? And then we remember what happened with the head clown. She was like, some of those guys were more outgoing, and like starts trying to analyze what personality I may have had when I was, uh, I guess, 13 or whatever. Just giving like trying to explain away why this is not screwed up, like basically blaming it on you, right? Oh, you weren't as out. It's like, but you don't. You're basing your perception of my personality when I was underage on what it is now, even though you admit that I probably don't act the same way or want the same things that I did when I was in seventh grade. So, like, her own hypothesis destroys itself. Like, she's going to use your personality as justification for why this didn't happen when you were younger. But then she also says you're not the same as you were before. So, no matter what personality you had, you would have gotten the same result anyway, according to her statement, which is that you as an adult are not the same as when you were a child. So it's like you can't even you see how like it's clashing with itself. Like that's how backwards these people's brains are. But I told you that's bimbo logic. There's a lot of scary stuff to this. Like it's scary to think that if you're not whatever type of person these people believe you're supposed to be, you have to wait years and years to maybe get something as minuscule as a date. It's scary that when you speak to a woman that you think likes you, you have to be mindful of if she's just saying this to waste your time, or if she has some ulterior motive, or if she's talking to another 5, 10, 15 guys. Like there's a lot of stuff that's underplayed that people don't want to talk about because it really like destroys this idea of the perfect woman that is waiting for you to say something to her if you know or can reasonably assume that she has loads of other guys doing the exact same thing. I don't even know what they mean by right girl or soulmate or any of that because there's a plenty of chicks I would have just at least gone on a date with, you know. I had this one broad on Discord who sent me she uses her picture as her actual like avatar and was like asking me if I apparently she's afraid of talking to minors, which whatever. But it was funny because it's like I saw two pictures of her. If she said you want to go on there, I would say, yeah, let's do it. I don't need to have no 8, 10 month saga of like, well, I want to get to know you first. And I feel like we need to have connections. Get out of here with that trash, you know? So she live on the East Coast. If she said want to go on a date, I'll book my ticket tomorrow. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're just like you don't have the weird standards that these people try to have on here. There is no magic age. It either happens or it doesn't. Yes, there is, Brandon. There's a magic romance here where a woman will like you back, and then you'll live happily ever after in your little ugly castle, and then you'll spit out some kids, and then it'll all be perfect and wonderful. You just have to wait year after year. You're very young. You're way too young. You're only this age. Hey, remember what Triple L said, right? You're what was it? It's practically blasphemous to complain about a stagnant love life. It's like go die. Like just go do. I hope every awful thing that can happen to somebody happens to her because I'm tired of people being allowed to minimize what's happened to me and act like it's not a big deal or I shouldn't care when they weren't even there. I feel like when these bastards get cursed out, when they have awful things said to them by yours truly, it's usually the result of something they said or did. Never read what he wrote. You're right. Let me wait till I'm 32 with my finances in order. I need to improve myself mentally since I lack a growth mindset. Yeah, no, we still got no explanation on what that means. You have a fixed mindset. You need a growth mindset. I was like, how about you get the mindset to just go watch somebody else? Adopt the I'm gonna watch a new person that agrees with me mindset. That's why my best friend said those guys to come on here and like start writing all that stuff, trying to, I guess, change me or my opinion, are like analogous to the chicks that meet some man that they want to clean up or fix, because it's like it's all about I can change him if I just say this or if I just do that. I thought that was really funny. Like that is true. They act just like them with regard to that. Exactly. Why wait and waste all that this time when you can give this person a chance and get to know them by accepting going on a date with them? Yeah, but that's why I gave the example because when you have people who keep blaming you for like this not working out, and then you can give examples or otherwise have proof that you're not as picky, which is why with all these different chicks, you were willing to at least go on a date with them, and they're the ones who, have like 900 trillion different things they want you to do before that or standards to meet or whatever. It's like it's really the pot calling the kettle black. Like you have idiots on here who have accused me of having standards that were too high, but I'm not. I've literally in my entire life rejected two people. That's it. And I have no regrets about doing that because one, I didn't find either one of them attractive, and two, I thought they were both really stupid. So I just think it's funny. It's like, oh yeah, the person that keeps accepting all these different chicks, your standards are too high. I actually said that to somebody a few weeks ago. There's a guy on Piscord that thinks he's gay. He thinks every single man that he talks to is trying to seduce him. Like apparently, what happened is he spoke to some guy on there one day, and then the guy said, "I really, really like you. Can we date?" So he thinks every single man that talks to him is trying. Like it's stupid. But I sent him a picture of Robert Englund. That's the guy that plays Freddy from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. And I was like, "Oh, don't you think he's attractive?" He was like, "Not really." I was like, Maybe your standards are too high." That's was my response. Like just as a like an in joke based off of the stuff people say to me, where like they you know yeah, people online think they can just talk to you how they want and also control how you respond to it. And if you respond the way they don't like, you're the one who's angry. It's like I'm the one who's angry, but you wrote how many paragraphs to me in my comment section? A lot of it is like them imposing what they are onto you. Like you're a loser. That's why I came to your channel and watched your video and your stream and tried to get your attention for half an hour because you're so beneath me. There's always somebody you never heard of calling someone that. We already went over that. That's just the irony of when people call someone that term, as if they're all these big shot, amazing winners. It's like get out of here. Let me wait till I'm 32. That's why I really don't like those bastards when they do that age stuff. It's just another stupid way to like. I guess what we have to realize is their kryptonite is actually addressing the points that we make because a lot of them are very sound and reasonable. So they have to go and grab stuff that's irrelevant, like someone's age, what you look like, all the rest of that, to either discredit what you're saying or to like have a way of not listening. And it's really ironic too because if everyone did what they did, then nobody would listen to anyone ever. Because I could just say to that broad, "Shut up, old hag," and then block her, and that would be the end of it. Because I would say, "Oh well, this person's age invalidates their opinion." So it's just a really stupid thing that they like to do. That I'm personally very tired of because they've been doing it for a long time. And that's why I said no matter what year it is, you're always going to have someone that just, tries to use that against you. Because I didn't stop talking to those bastards until I genuinely believed that no matter how much like effort you extolled, you would get the same result. Like you could get the same result from not talking to them that you would get from talking to them, which is nothing. So it was only when I got to that point that I just said, yeah, this is just not enjoyable or benefiting or fulfilling in any way. It's just more false hope. And the people who tell you to keep putting up with this stuff usually have never experienced it themselves. Like I remember, let's just reiterate this. I had a dingbat who is telling me to wait 5, 10, or 15 years for a woman to maybe go on a date. But then she's acknowledging and disclosing the fact that she had multiple men ask her to marry her before she was 20. And again, that's what I was talking about when I said these bastards have never done any of this stuff or had to put up with constantly having their time wasted by stupid chicks that like pretending they're interested in someone in order to get them to talk to them for extraneous amounts of time and not deliver on anything they said or set up with via their rhetoric. Oh, the reason why I think she doesn't want to talk my voice meant that she wasn't ready yet. Yeah, that was Triple A, H, Triple L. It's all about the game. Yeah, that was that bastard. I had a broad on Reddit who said, "I will not do calls with you ever, or I will not do calls with you. I only like speaking by text." And I was like, I've never seen someone who cared about another person that they only ever spoke to them by typing stuff to them. And then stupid Triple L with her retcon is like, I think she meant that she wasn't ready to speak to you by voice yet. It's like no, and so I went in my inbox and pulled up that message and read it to her, and I was like, why did you? What was the purpose of trying to retcon something that was like? Sometimes people will say something, and that's why I recorded the one for the other video. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, maybe this they said actually said this, or they actually meant that." It's like, no, we have the literal goddamn message that this broad wrote to me. There it is in black and white. It is not. It has not been edited. It has not been changed. She literally said, "I will not speak to you by voice." You know, where are you getting yet from? And I wish you could have heard it. She tried to change the topic very, very quickly because she knew she was caught in her. I tell you, they're trying to have a real life version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like I've seen chicks try to retcon the fact I approached them for 7 years. I've seen them try to retcon specific things that happened with them. You know, they really like this idea of I'm gonna pretend various aspects of what you've told me about yourself did not happen, so I can like more easily not address what you're actually saying or try to like spin my narrative. Hell, the guy on Saturday tried to retcon the fact that we had never that what was it? He was talking about traumatic experience from years ago. It's like a lot of this stuff is relatively new. Like the thing with the broad that had the explicit call is still that's only what like a month old. But see, more retcons. Let me pretend that all of this stuff he discusses is from years and years ago, even if a lot of it was from this year by itself. Which is why I said that in that video. I was like, yeah, since January we've had two chicks that pretend they didn't have a boyfriend because they know that if they mention it, you'll be like, da, 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 da. The one that asked me on a date and then reneged and then lied and all the rest of that. And then this one as well. It's like it sucks. Like this is not getting any better. It's actually you could argue getting even worse because, like I said before, chicks back when I was in like seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, maybe even 11th grade, they didn't do this. Like you would go up to one of them and say, hey, "I like you." They would say, "Oh, I'm not interested." Now be it. You don't sit there and talk to one of them ever for 5 or 6 months, and then they're telling you about, "Oh, I feel a connection," and da da da. Da. That stuff only started with the internet and with like chicks after like that period. Like it just gets more and more dragged out. It's like if you're writing a manga and your first arc is like 5 chapters, and then your second arc is like 6, the third one's 7, 8. Like relatively short, right? And then by the time you get to your 10th arc, they're like 50 or 40 chapters. You're like, when? How did this happen? He just failed to do any basic research because if he did, he wouldn't be able to peddle this his silly rhetoric. Yeah, a lot of people, that's why I think it's so funny. It's like I want your time by like writing this stuff to you, but I'm not actually going to like know what I'm talking about when I write this. I'm just going to say some random stuff, and that's true. Things will only get worse from here, unfortunately. Yeah, we've already seen proof of it. So you never had a chick ask me on a date before this year, and that was one of the very tiny. That was pretty much the only reason I thought maybe this might be different. Nope. Every year it stays the same. And while you have to keep rebooting and finding new chicks to speak to eventually get your time wasted by again, you have other people that get to have a girlfriend or have a family or actually like see some progression, and other men that are attacking you and blaming you. Like those, you get the status quo. Everybody else gets to. I'll never forget that douchebag talking about you're not evolved. It's like, yeah, they won't let you. It's really like it's really screwed up. I'm just laughing because of how insane it is that people think you're supposed to just put up with this forever. You're only this age. Keep on trying. Every year. You're only this age. The internet lets people just act insane. A huge double whammy. Yeah, it's the status quo. You're supposed to just ask out chicks forever. You're not allowed to ever get tired of this. Remember how people would say that women that don't have like a boyfriend or a husband are independent, they don't need a man or whatever. But then if you're a man, you require a woman for some reason. And that's why I brought up the hooker thing. It's like I'm not. No one is saying that to suggest that. We've already talked about this before. But it's like no one said that to say that all chicks are like that. Or it's simply to say I don't understand where if a man wants to have some kind of gratification, right, in some romantic way, because there are hookers that will go on dates, screw whatever, just anything you want if you pay him a certain price. I don't see why that should be barred from him forever, just on the basis of like them refusing to do it willingly. Because I think a lot of stuff we ask for is not, at least on my part anyway, is not it shouldn't require some extraneous task. Like I even said in one of my videos, I was like, if I asked out 10 chicks to marry me and they all said no, I could, just like over the course of my lifetime, right? I could totally understand it because that's a lifelong commitment. But when you are expected to ask 90 or 100 or 200 or 300 women on a date, and like just so one of them might maybe say yes, that's insane. That's why I deconstructed what it was for that one bro. I was like, yeah, all you have to do when you go on a date is be with the person. You don't have to hold them, you don't have to touch them, you have to kiss them. I think it's insane that like people expect you to do all this stuff for so little. And that's not even factoring in like the external stuff, like having guys harass you and write all this nasty trash and write fan fiction. I've never met you before, but I know everything about you. Things will only get worse. Yep. I just I think it's really sad. I think it's unfortunate that we can't have a legitimate dialogue about this stuff without people saying a lot of the things I mentioned earlier. But that's just, I guess that's the way it is when you're not part of a protected group of people like women, right? You don't No one really cares about you. That's I guess that's the way to put it. I don't either, which is why I ceased correspondence with that chick who wanted to have. Yeah, I'm glad. Like I said, relationship supposed to be a commitment between two people. When you have someone telling you to join it with, was it two other guys or something? It's stupid. And like I said, flip the genders. Imagine if it was Megumi asking for a polygamous relationship. You know damn well everybody would say, "What's wrong with him? Why can't he just date one person? Why does he feel like he's entitled to having multiple girlfriends at once? God." You know they would say that about you if you wanted to do that. And I've never really had an urge to do that. It's like yeah, it was just date one person. I don't know why that's so difficult. But I tell you, it makes sense when you consider that every basic normal thing now has some extended or higher level of difficulty associated with it. As people try to go out of their way to make things as frustrating and as hard as possible. So I'm not surprised. Oh, romantic relationships are so damn cancerous. I said, would you rather get deployed to Afghanistan or date a woman that begs you for money every day? It's like I'll probably pick the former. I'm good. Let me see what this is. Yeah, guys, if you can hear any of that, I'm sorry. It's just again more trash. So I really do apologize if you can hear that. People always have a lovely ability to talk very loud when I'm streaming. That's always when it happens the most. That's all you want to a date. It seems like people are thinking about you wanting to marry a woman right off the bat. Well, that's why I said that it seems like they don't actually pay attention to what you're saying. Uh, Got to follow their huge list of demands. Yeah, they're not listening to what you're saying. They're just like imposing things on you to make it. Um, what's a good way of saying it? It's the just world fallacy. So like, oh yeah, you just want to get screwed, and you just want this and this other horrible thing. So that's why nobody likes you back. Remember what Crossdale, the person whose brain went to hell, said: "You want to be a player, but women can tell you just want intercourse. That's the vibe I'm getting." Because again, it's not about actually listening to somebody. It's just this bad thing has happened to this person. Let me blame them for it because again, we can never criticize the woman ever. You're correct, and that's what irritates me greatly about this all. Yeah, it's the same thing over and over where they like you get a bunch of things that people tell you have to do to get a date, and then you have people who will attack you anyway. Um, just like on the basis of not getting one. So pretty much no matter what you and we never I forgot to mention that there are men who will criticize another man that has a girlfriend. Like they'll say, "Oh, you're not attentive enough," or just different stuff like that. So you're never gonna stop getting attacked because of your association with them, you know? Oh, did I mention okay, so going back to that guy that thinks every man he talks to is trying to get with him. Did I mention that he actually said a 2-year age gap is gross? Did I bring that up? I don't know if I brought it up on Saturday. I don't think I did. So let me know if you heard me say that before because I thought that was the most insane thing ever. Let me know if I said that. Anybody at all? Anybody remember me saying anything about a guy who thought a 2 year age gap was gross? Oh, James, whatever. I'm just gonna mention it anyway because I'm not about to sit here for 10 minutes trying to figure out if you guys remembered it. So this guy said because I made a joke that he no, I didn't hear about this. I made a joke that he wanted to be with this character that he has as avatar. The character he has as avatar is 17, he's 19, and he says, "Ew, gross." I'm like, "Aren't you only 2 years older than the character?" And he said that he felt uncomfortable and that this gap was creepy. And I'm like, according to what? I mean, like in the U.S., for example, right? The if you have a relationship with a minor and you're more than 3 years older than them, then it's a crime. But like in nowhere here is 2 years considered bad, at least in the eyes of the law. Like you can be 17 with a 19-year-old girlfriend and you have nobody will, get upset. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's such a like people you know what I'm saying? Just I thought that was hilarious that he actually called that creepy. And I was like, so is my mom a predator? Because she's 2 years older than my dad. I was like, so is she a predator? And he was like, well, if other people want to do that, that's fine. But I personally, good luck finding someone the exact same age. I mean, hell, that's not me saying that. That's him. I talk to chicks older than me all the time. Hell, Triple L was like 30 something, like late 20s, like all the way at the end of the 20s, like 30 something. So whatever. You don't see me like freaking out because somebody's 2 years older or whatever. Like that's him doing that. I don't care. Good luck finding somebody the exact same age. Not me. Oof, they fell off. Laughing at how insane he is so much, my spectacles dropped. But that one broad that showed me like the two pictures of herself on Discord, she's like 27. I was like, yeah, if she wanted to go on a date, if she asked me on a date, I'd be like, yeah, let's go, let's do this. I told you I don't have any like personally, and I don't mention this that often because I know that I have trolls that will like, they every time you have a specific thing you like, they act like it's a bad thing. Personally, I like older chicks. I don't have an issue with it. Um, but that's why I said that like no matter what specific things you like, people try to use that against you. I personally think they act the same as people always have these like stereotypes, but I see like chicks in their 30s that do the same stupid stuff as you know younger ones or whatever. So I don't really believe in any of the age stuff. Yeah, only 2 years. That's why I asked him, is my mom a predator? Yeah, they are not that humble. I just thought that was hilarious. Like I've never, out of all the people I've ever spoken to, no one has ever been upset or said that a 2 year age gap was creepy. That's the only person out of all people I spoke online in real life. The law, like nobody ever, other than that person thought that was creepy. I know it's mostly subjective, but I don't think that's gross at all. That's my point. That like how small it is. Like, what's wrong with you? Brandon said, "Good luck finding someone the exact same age." I was like, "Who are you talking to?" I talk to chicks in their 30s all the time. I don't care, whatever. Because I know those bastards aren't even gonna say yes anyway. So whatever, oh well. I just thought that was hilarious. Like the only person I've ever seen that said a 2 year age gap was creepy. I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? Like that's why I said these people are like out of a cartoon. Like they're always saying something that's like weird that you've like. Remember the chick I mentioned that I kept trying to have a call with her and she wouldn't do it. Like I would, she would schedule it. Then you meet the schedule. Then she says she's busy. Then she schedules another one. You come to the second one. She's busy again. Like that's and that happened like 6 times. That's stuff that's out of like a movie or a TV show because of how insane it is. There's nothing wrong with your preference. I'm just clowning the guy you mentioned. Yeah. I just thought that was hilarious. Like, oh yeah, this gap is so creepy. That's why everywhere you go, it's legal to be with someone that's 2 years older or younger. Yeah. Let me see. He acts like that's 15-year age gap. Yeah, I'd understand how they would appear how it would appear creepy. Oh yeah, well look, that's my point that if it were bigger, right, then I could understand his issue with it. Because I already said before, I would never be romantically like with a woman who's more than 10 years older, and even that's pushing it. I would never like be involved with one of them, like beyond that point. Uh, but it's like, yeah, I still again, if he said that, or if it was something like that, I would be more understanding. But 2 years, I remember that one douchebag that was on my channel that was like, go for chicks 5 years younger. This is like 3 years ago, and like if I did that, I'd be talking to a 15-year-old. I'm like, that's illegal. What kind of pedo ring do you run? You know. I guess it goes back to that thing where like these guys try to impose their beliefs on me. Like, and I said before, I like older chicks. You know, if you like younger or whatever, and you want to go talk to some little girl, go ahead, be my guest. I mean, you know, they can go be creepy by themselves. I'm not, I'm not interested in pursuing that angle. Like, what if like how much basic research you completely lack to even say something like type something like that and then not say, I wonder how old this person is. Because if you said someone that's a year younger, 2 years younger, you're fine no matter what age the person is. Um, but you actually have like people that write that type of stuff, and they have no. And it goes back to my belief system about how they have no consideration for what they're typing, what specific person they're talking to, just random trash. People say the dumbest stuff online and they act like it's gospel. hmm Let's actually think about this. So the biggest gold digger in U.S. history was 5 years older than me. The stupid clown that that was in the woman tries to control me fails miserably video. She was like I think 6 or 7. I know she's over 30. Like her and Triple L are like both over 30. So there's and then the one that was in the recording from a few weeks ago was like 25. So I already have like subtly stated my preference, but you know, I don't like to talk about that often because people, they always try to say, "Well, that's why you were." Just shut up. I'm allowed to have preferences, just like everybody else. People say the dumbest stuff online and they act like it's gospel. I can really picture them in those little robes. Oh, I'm going to tell you what was stated in Psalm 63. Oh my God. Okay. You personally wouldn't what? There's a lot of stuff I wouldn't personally do, but I'm not about to sit here on a soapbox and like demand that other people don't do it. Me personally, I wouldn't. What would you not personally do? Look at my last comment. Oh, well, yeah, but what does he mean by okay, I guess what I'm confused. Do you mean if you were 18 and dating a Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like, I don't know what he's like. What is he saying he's objecting to? We're all trying to get clarification. I mean, all right, you're allowed to have that preference. Hey, just going off my own experiences, the older ones tend to not ask me for money. Like that's one of the reasons I like them more. So maybe if chicks weren't like so often to beg for coins, I wouldn't you know wouldn't gravitate toward what I do. Okay, no worries. Now we got to ban you because you have a preference that's not the same as ours. This remember this is a dictatorship. That's why that guy was allowed to talk all that nasty stuff to me for a whole hour before he got yanked. Because they do that in North Korea. They let you talk trash to the supreme leader for a whole hour before you get sent to the dungeon. That's crazy. Because aren't older women the same age? Aren't older women the same one demanding men to spend money on them? Um, in some cases, yeah. Which is why it's pretty ironic too. It's like, aren't you the person who theoretically would have more if you've been in the workforce for a longer amount of time because you're whatever. It was pretty funny having a broad that's like 30 something, right, living in a little apartment and being like, hey, I can move there with you and then you can save your money and then you don't have to, keep like not evolving whatsoever financially because you have to keep spending it but hey, even when they're given a utility, they decline. She'll date the guy that she admitted sat in her house and didn't pay anything, just laid up in her bed all day before the one that actually will assist her with her. But see, that's how you know something's wrong with chicks. Like, there is no way in hell if I'm on here complaining, man, I got this apartment and I'm losing a bunch of money having to pay for it, and then some woman that out of my own mouth I say is smarter, more attractive, funnier than the last one I was with or whatever is like, hey, I'll move in with you and then we can actually pay this off. And I'm like, nah, like that's crazy to me. I used to have the idea that most older chicks wouldn't act like 15 or teenagers when you speak to them. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I mean, again, I'd still say they're my preference, but there's really nothing special about them. They all do the same thing. I just thought that was funny. A 2-year age gap is creepy to this guy. Like that's never creepy in the eyes of the law. I think there have been polls where they showed that like most couples are within 2 years of each other. I just thought that was really funny. No, we're getting rid of James. He doesn't have my preference, so he's got to get yanked. Goodbye, James X. James. This is your last appearance on this channel. And we just got, what that happened where they like someone was like, "Oh, I got banned." Like you're a mod, how you get banned? Hey, that's his final, his last time on screen. What I've also realized that the chicks around your age, around 20 as an example, most of the time would have multiple partners or with someone already, probably have children. Yeah. Well, that's why I said it's like so many people, right, put an excessive amount of time into what do you have to offer the woman? What are your flaws? But like you guys act like, oh, I'm actively impressed and wanting to date a woman that has kids, or like you know what I'm saying. They never talk about stuff that women have that men find unappealing. Just like with the dingbat with the baby, she was homeless when that guy was dating her. I'm like, you don't think that's unappealing to people? Like I said, you have to. You're the only one that has this big litmus test. They get to be whatever they want. You get older and sometimes would have maybe resort, not at all. If you were desperate, guys, there's just certain stuff I'm not willing to do. And I already said that one of the reasons I'm not a fan of people saying date someone younger is because I know that there's a higher chance that that person doesn't own a goddamn thing and they're going to use me to for some financial trash. So I'm not desperate enough for that one. I already said before I have standards, so I'm not going to put up with that. I like older women because they tend to be more mature. Yeah. And what that one bimbo said that one time I was talking about having a kid, she was like, I would rather get shot in the face or something. It's like, yeah, I'd rather be shot than resort to getting with a younger chick out of desperation of getting a date. Nope. Sorry for having standards. Oh my God. Same is true. Was just saying as an example, I've seen some guys who have resorted to doing this. Well, that's why that creepy pedophile comment that guy wrote me really was disturbing because he's saying to a person who's barely legal, that was only like I was like 20. Oh yeah, go and ask out someone in ninth grade. So that was the issue there. That you're so desperate as to where you would break the law to get a date or whatever other romantic trash your stuff you were looking for. I just think that's insane. And like I said, I think having a preference like that is really not that awful. Like age is something people can't control, and you know that you have chicks that have like age is something they bring up as well. But that's why I said that it's funny how no matter what preferences chicks have, they're allowed to have them. If you're a man, you have to like always be willing to accept everyone and everything for what it is. And I just I that goes back to my point of how if you're a man, you have to accept everybody for what they are. But then if you're a woman, you get to have 800 different litmus tests. Which is why I said I wasn't bothering with them anymore because what's the point? Yeah, people really act like having a call on Discord is like the worst thing in the world. Like I'm still amazed at how many of them will just sit there and type whole paragraphs to you before they want to sit in the call. It's really nuts. I'm so scared. That's another reason why I stopped speaking to that one chick as well. She lied about her age to me when I asked her during our first meetup. Well, what's that thing about the first impression is the most important one, or like honesty, and it's like if they lie about something, like if people ask me what my age is, I say what it is. Like so, if they lie about something like that, you don't see where that's already a red flag that it's probably best not to be involved with this person. Because even with these broads, I have no intention of, I don't even know what to say, making any moves on or asking out. If they ask me how old I am, I just say it. I don't have to put up any kind of reflexive shield or none of that, or make up something. It's so weird to me. But they lie about everything, so I'm not surprised. It's like, oh yeah, chicks want honesty. That's why they lie to you about their age, and they want you to be in a relationship with them and two other people. Hmm. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. What are your interests? That makes me very uncomfortable. Yeah, that was the first clue that this website had something wrong with it. And the mod really sat there and was like, "Whoa, I can kind of understand." It's like I don't at all. Every other website I go to, I ask somebody what they like, they tell me. They don't try to me too you and say, "Oh my god, I felt so uncomfortable." And he asked me what kind of shows and movies I like, and it was like he was peeking behind my blouse by asking these questions that he asked literally anybody, regardless of their gender, that he meets for the first time. It sucks too, because it's another example of those things that are supposed to be like innocent, and they get manipulated into being more than they actually are, or worse than they actually are. Um, and I guess maybe that's a perfect allegory for the dating situation. It's like, yeah, people used to tell you that you would meet a woman and you ask her on a date, and then she would say yes, and you would go on a date or two or three or whatever, and then become a couple. And then if you like that person, if you ask them to marry you, and blah, blah, blah. And they took something that literally millions of people have done and just turned it into this never ending saga of trying to meet someone that shows you the most basic of romantic reciprocation. At this point, I don't even have a problem like discussing it with people because it's like I remember there was this one guy who was like, "You shouldn't talk about what has happened to you in front of us." It's like I don't care anymore because most of them I never mentioned this to, and they still got the same result. It's just it's really funny that you're always supposed to second guess what you can say around them, but they can talk openly about whatever they like. That's fairness, right? People always have something they want you to do. What are your interests? I'm sorry I asked you a question I ask everybody else. Will never happen again. My error, my sin, my apologies. I feel very horrible for asking such an intimate question. That'll never occur anymore. I promise. Oh, it's part. Okay, I probably am gonna not use that. I was about to look on this website and see what news stories were on there, but I guess I'll just have to wait until the stream wraps up. And with anything else left to say, I'm pretty much ready to get out of here because I'm very hungry. I skipped on my meal to do this. So, anything left to say? Any further comments, statements, theories, thoughts, concerns, speculations? Watch the only person to answer be some weird individual we've never seen before. Yes, I've come out of the blue to ask you. Hey, don't ever have a 2-year gap in a relationship That's too big. That's creepy. I thought that was hilarious. I was sitting there just laughing that whole day at how insane that was. Don't give them any ideas. Yeah. Well, I don't think I give them any ideas anyway. They still pop up and write weird stuff. And a lot of people and chicks are insane. That is all. That's your closing statement. Nothing. Bye. He's like, get out of here. I have any further comments for you. I'm tired of you. I see how it is. I remember what you said about me, so it makes sense you would have that response. People are weird when it comes to dating. Oh yeah. And like I said, it's a lose-lose situation for the man no matter what, because you get attacked by people you've never met over this. You have people analyzing who you are based off of this. And you have a bunch of chicks that either waste your time or, keep giving you the same result as usual. See you and take care, everyone. Yeah, we didn't have as big of a bizarre person as we had last time, so at least that was good. Anyways, I'll be back either Wednesday or Thursday, but definitely Saturday. So have a good rest of your week. Thanks, Megumi. Thanks, James. Dio when he made his cameo, the Akatsuki merchant. I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, see you.